Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Martin with The Contour Chemist. Today is a lip and cheek day. So we're talking Seint's 3D Foundation. We're talking the multi-purpose lip and cheek colors. We're gonna talk a little bit about longevity tips and tricks, how to know what color is good for your skin tone, formulation differences, what makes good eyeshadow, lip liner, multi-purpose shade, mixing tips and tricks. We're just gonna talk about all the fun ways to use these colors. So if you wanna check it out, please keep watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for being here. All right, friends, let's get started. Get this hair out of my face. So far, I have my 3D foundation on, highlight, contour, brightener, done, right? Yeah, okay. So I did not put any lip and cheek on. You can tell I have a natural flush, as you will, to my cheeks and don't have anything on my lips. So let's talk, I just hit myself in the face. Let's talk lip and cheek colors. I feel like this is, like once you start with Seint's 3D Foundation, this will be your first obsession. You will either be a lip and cheek girl or an eyeshadow girl. And I didn't even put any eyeshadow on because I want to show you how to use these shades also for your eyes. Let's first start about skin tone. So usually when I color match my clients, I ask them specifically what colors they're drawn to so that I can make the best recommendations for their preferences. So if you need a color match, the link is in the description box below the video. I will tell you shades for your preference. So that being said, your preference is number one, obviously. If you don't like reds, don't choose a red undertone shades. And in my color matches, I have them all categorized and descriptions next to a picture of each one, next to swatches. So you can see all of the comparisons of them next to each other. But if you don't know, Seint has different formulations. Technically, we have three. There is what the website calls satin, semi-gloss, and gloss. But for years, as being an artist, that's not what they were called. They were matte, gloss, and satin. So I tend to call them that still because I can't get past my old ways. And to me, this is matte. I don't consider this a satin because it has no glow. What is on the website as a satin is a matte shade. There's no glow to it. They are the most pigmented and will give you the best longevity if that is an issue, but I will show you that in a second. We only have a couple in the semi-gloss category, which are technically in between. Those are the ones I call a satin because they have some sheen to them, but they're not a full-on gloss. They're the best of both worlds, I would say. They have a little bit more pigment than the gloss, but they have a little bit of that glow as well. They're really good. And then the glossy. If you are new here, you might not know, I literally wear a gloss over everything. So even if I put a matte shade down, I'll put something glossy over it, either the semi-gloss or the gloss, because I need glow on my cheeks and that moisture on my lips. So again, it's a personal preference thing. Now, depending on your skin tone will depend on which colors I think are best. And then also just your preference. If you are brand new to blush and you want something really subtle, you want to stick with those subtle colors. If you are fair, you can go with the lighter shades. Otherwise, I would say if you're medium skin tone, don't go anything lighter than Frenchy. Now, I wear, for reference, Mango and Sandy, and I can wear all of these shades, just some are gonna be much more subtle than others. So like Petal, for example, is lighter on my lips. It pulls me really cool. I can wear it, but I usually only wear it as a topper to lighten other shades to give a shade more cool tones, because you can see how cool that is. Ballerina is very light. This will give me almost the most subtle nude shade possible. It's got a titch of pink in it, but it is very nude. So I like this on my lips if I want a really nude Desert lip. Sunset is one of our most popular shades. It's full on glossy. It looks more pigmented when it's like swatched heavily, but it's actually pretty sheer. And so a lot of times clients will be like, I can't see it. It's gonna just give kind of a slight peachy, nude, flesh glow to your cheeks. It's actually one of my very favorites to wear in the summer, and it's one of my absolute favorites to put over any other shade on my lips because it doesn't change the color much. It just gives that gloss. So you want to lighten up a shade, Petal's really good. Desert Sunset won't change it much. Also, what won't change it much is Sadie. So this is one of our newer ones. It was limited edition. Now it's here to stay. And I'm telling you, this is like the perfect nude lip for me. I have to have a gloss. The mattes kind of dry me out. So I can just wear this, line my lips, and throw this on with my finger and be good to go. And it gives me that really subtle nude on my cheeks as well. I'd say if you're in the fair category, you can literally wear all of our shades. Just as you get into those darker tones, you just have to apply less. And if you are more medium to dark, some of these you're not gonna be able to see unless you want a very subtle glow, just that subtleness. I'd say one of the most popular ones as well is Frenchy. This is more of that peach, okay? This is the one that doubles for under eyes. It works really good to color correct like blue and purple. This on me is extremely nude, okay? So like if you're at my skin tone or darker, it's gonna be very neutral on you. You're not gonna be able to see much of it. My all-time favorite, I'd say, because I am very much a pink nude kind of girl, is Summer Love. Okay, it's pink, but it's nude. It's got a little bit more pigmentation than say some of these do. So this is the one color I feel like I can slap on my lips and cheeks and I'm good to go. And it adds that glow that I like, but it's got enough pigmentation that it will wear all day for me. Okay, and just one more that I have to shout out is Tropicanna. This one is very similar to Summer Love in my opinion. It's just got more of that corally, peachy tone. Some of my favorites to layer. Oh my gosh, so good. This one was limited edition and it is here to stay as well. So depending on your skin tone, if you are medium skin tone, I would say start at this level for the very neutral colors. If you like a very subtle blush like I do, if you want more of a bold blush, you're gonna have to go darker than these colors. So if you have darker skin tone, it just kind of depends on your preference as well. I would say, oh my gosh, there's so many choices of darker ones. So nude, let's see which one's nude. I think, yeah, this is nude, this is plum. Two of the most universally flattering shades ever. Let's see if I have any room to swatch. Okay, they're both very similar. Just nude has a little bit more warmth and plum is a little bit more cool. I would say they're two of the shades that I feel like anyone can wear, because if you want them more subtle, you can just put them on lighter. If you want them darker, you can build up these colors. They're all very buildable. It's just sometimes it's hard to know which ones are more sheer and which ones are more pigmented. So for the most part, the matte shades are the most pigmented and the gloss ones are the most sheer, but there's always an exception to a rule, okay? So this one right here looks super pigmented. It's black cherry. It's actually pretty sheer, okay? And then this one is a gloss. You would think it was sheer. It's actually one of our most pigmented. That's Ruby, okay? So you can see we have literally such a variety of every color that you could imagine. And my favorite part, I think, when I first started wearing this makeup was the ability to mix. Okay, so I challenge you to not be afraid to mix colors that you would never put together. In fact, the other day, and it's one of my very favorite combos, so these are all my faves. Frenchy, okay, very, very orange undertone, peach, right? Matte, and then black cherry. okay? Very purple undertone. You would not think that those two would go together at all. I need to like make a spot on my hand so I can show you guys how they're one of my favorite combinations ever. Okay, so there's two ways to mix. You can either like straight up swatch them together and mix. Okay, you can take your brush and do dip, dip, okay? Mix them straight on the skin, okay? Or you could layer. So I feel like it depends on the look you're going for. I tend to layer the most because I can easily control the amount of color of each. So I'll put the amount of, say, you know, the matte shade on first, and then I will layer with the glossy shade over it. So I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like. So this is my concoction. So pretty, one of the prettiest shades, okay? So let's wipe off my blush brush. Blush brush is by far my favorite because I can easily, like, I just color corrected and did my foundation. I don't wanna move anything, okay? When it comes to blush placement, I'll show you what to do. I'm just going to tap, okay? These are pigmented. It is always easier to build up color than to try to take away blush. Uh-oh, did I just get that on me? Okay, so I'm going to just simply tap into Frenchy, okay? I'm gonna smile, okay? And when I drop my smile, you'll see, like, if I was to place it right on the apple of my cheek, when I drop my smile, then suddenly it goes lower, right? Okay, so if you're wanting to lift your face and you pretty much want to stay above your nose and 1 to 2 finger widths away from your nose, okay? So what that means is go to the apple of your cheek and go high to the outside, and that's where you want to start placing your color. And then we contour here, we put lip and cheek here so that they kind of blend together, they look seamless, and they kind of flow, okay? Contour doesn't look nearly as natural without that lip and cheek kind of over it. Okay. So we're gonna start placing it right here. We're gonna just kind of tap up along that cheekbone, along the contour so there's no gap. Okay, and this is just Frenchy, okay? So you can see how subtle it is on somebody of my skin tone, okay? It's a beautiful shade, so pretty, very natural, peachy, but it will give that kind of matte satin finish, okay? So for me, I love a glow to my cheeks. So I'm gonna take Black Cherry, one little dab, okay? So that I can build up color if needed. If I want more, I can always go into more. Okay, we're just gonna add that right over the top. Now, here's the magic of creams. If you feel like you, I don't know, got too close or you have a harsh line, grab your perfector. You can easily just kind of blur that line, or you can pick up your foundation brush, use it like a magic eraser so that you have the perfect kind of glow, no harshness of your blush, okay? So one of the biggest questions I have is on longevity. So people ask me all the time, like, well, my lip and cheek is not lasting. So there's several different things that can cause that. For one, my first question is, are you putting your highlight down before your blush? So depending on the method, some people do the cheetah hack method where they just dot their blush on and they're putting it directly on their skin. That highlight doesn't make a difference. Your blush should last just fine. But if you are doing the method I do, where I completely color correct and put my foundation on, then I put my blush over it once I'm done. If you have redness or darkness in this area and you aren't, say, using the right color, you're using a color too light, and your highlight starts fading as it does naturally if your shade is wrong, or if it's not color correcting, your redness is peeking through, then it will take your lip and cheek with it, and then suddenly your lip and cheek will be gone. So that is the first thing, is to make sure you are using the proper colors underneath. Second is make sure you're not using anything with silicones in it. So if you're using something like even our setting spray under your makeup, it has dimethicone, which causes our makeup not to stick or adhere. Just check all the ingredients, check the labels of whatever you're putting under your foundation. Make sure it's silicone free, and then you can eliminate that as a possibility. So try your makeup with nothing, just bare face one day. Make sure that's not causing it, because you'd be surprised at how often that actually is happening. Third is you can set it. So these are all creams, right? They're cream-based makeup, so our creams don't set. If you are having issues with longevity, you can try setting it. So for me, I would say that you have two options. You can either use a powder, a translucent powder, or you can use a powder blush. So if you have powder blushes around, you love the color or whatever, but you can just totally help you set the color without dulling it down at all. So the problem with like using a powder over the top of it is that you will then the color will tone down, and then suddenly you won't be able to see it as well. So I recommend if you are using even if it's a translucent powder, especially if it's a powder with more color, a heavier powder that gives more coverage, you really are gonna have to look like a clown for about 2 seconds before you put that powder on, because just know it's gonna tone it down a lot. Also, our lip and cheeks really do tone down after 5 minutes. So after about 5 minutes, say like I'm doing my eyes or whatever, and then I come back and be like, I need more lip and cheek. This is why we slowly build color. You can just add more until it's at the level that you want it. Okay, so this side, I have a dewy finish because I went with a matte and then a gloss. I'm gonna show you this side if I want a more matte finish. So if you don't like the glow, you don't want that, you want matte, you want it just the best longevity, this is what I do. I do the same thing. So we're gonna go with Frenchy. I recommend if you're having problems with longevity, using those matte shades first, since they have more pigment. I feel like a lot of our glossy shades, since they are more subtle and more sheer, they tend to fade more. Since they're already so subtle, then sometimes you just don't see them as well. Okay, so try that matte shade first. Okay, throw down the pigment. If you're having a lot of issues, go with the most pigmented shades. So our most pigmented shade by far is Saffron. Scarlet's really pigmented. Our matte ones like Plum, Nude, Sandstone, Dahlia, all of those, put down the pigment, and then if you want that glow, layer the more sheer shade over it. Okay, so for me, I put down Frenchy. I'm gonna show you, now I'm gonna take, what shade is this? This is Breath of Plum, which I think will give me a very similar effect to the Black Cherry, which is very plum and purple. And I'm gonna put some of this over it. Okay, so we got matte, we got dewy. So depending on your preference, you could totally use other powders with this makeup. All brands of makeup work awesome with these creams as well. With mixing, you can't really, you're gonna get a combination of whatever two formulas you use. So if you're using 2 matte shades, you're gonna get a matte formula. If you put a matte and a glossy like I did, it kind of gives you more of that semi-gloss. So if you like matte, that might not be the best way. You might have to kind of stick with the matte shades, try to use a powder. Play with mixing just 50-50 or layering and see what your favorite. I get this all over my white shirt. I'm also always asked about multitasking shades. Which shades make the best eyeshadow, lip liner, color correctors, that kind of thing. All right, so first of all, I feel like the only shade that I feel like is a good color corrector is Frenchy, like I said. Under the eyes, only if you have dark blue or purple undertones. The orange in this works very similar to Mango. I've done comparison videos. We're doing Mango and Frenchy, and I cannot tell the difference on me whatsoever. But I have clients that swear by one or the other. They just have a personal preference. So I'd say if you've tried one, you can totally try the other and see if you have a favorite. I know I've seen a lot of other color correction ideas, and a lot of them have to do with a glossy shade. I don't ever recommend using a color corrector that's glossy because, like I said before, the glossy ones don't have as good a longevity, especially under the eye. You really don't want their application would be much harder to get a smooth finish. Now this shade is very matte and very kind of dry and smooth and silky, so it does go on very differently than Mango under the eyes. But once you kind of put your main shade and get it back to matching, you don't notice any kind of stickiness or anything like you would get with a gloss. So that being said, I also highly recommend all of the matte shades for eyeshadows, okay? I feel like they do make great eyeshadow bases. Your eyes can tolerate creams, okay? You guys know I have some difficult eyes. I've got very hooded, very aging eyelids. So for me, I have to use a eyeshadow primer, then I use my highlight to kind of even it out, then I use a powder, and then if I use a cream, I have to be very careful and also set it with a powder again in order for me to get good longevity. Now, I can do it, but some people are really lucky and they can just throw on a cream lip and cheek on their eyes for a really quick eyeshadow look, and I'm super jealous. But I'm gonna show you. So my favorite colors to use for the eyes would probably be Sandstone. If you like warmth, it's very similar to Zion. Nude, Plum is one of my favorites. And then you could use something like Dahlia as a base, and then kind of tone it down with eyeshadow, just depending on your preference. The rest of them are very glossy or, I don't know, not as natural looking eyeshadows, I guess, because they're a little bit more vivid pink. Again, you can kind of tone it down, but if you're looking for just like an easy kind of hack to be able to throw on an eyeshadow and not have to like put any powders over it, you could also, I guess, use Frenchy. It would be probably not the most natural, I would say. I would pretty much just steer clear of the semi-gloss gloss family on your eyes. It could be a little bit more sticky and be more prone to creasing. So I'm gonna show you guys, I'm gonna use the Detail Hack brush, and you can just use your fingers and just kind of press. I like to use this brush to be able to get into the crease. I can't control it as much with my fingers. Okay, so Nude is one of my favorites. It's very natural, a little bit less purple than Plum. I would say Nude, Plum, and Sandstone would be my three favorites for this look. So next is lip liner. So let's talk about lips and longevity as we're at it. I would say the best lip liner, again, is those matte shades. You guys know I usually use a contour. I feel like they do have the best staying power because our contours are a different formulation. They are much drier and they're designed to stay where you put them. Different than our highlights, different than our blushes. So I would say that my top choice for a lip liner is going to be Scarlet because it is the most pigmented. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because if you put it around your lips, it might be the only part left after the whole day. So you might at least kind of put it everywhere so you don't have that like ring around your lips, which can be a lip liner problem, right? Okay, so as we're doing lips, let's talk about lip longevity. So we talked about cheeks, right? Most pigmented shades first, with a powder if you need to, all the things. I'm gonna take off my whatever's on my lips, which is, I don't know, nothing. Okay, when it comes to lip longevity with these creams. There's a few things that can kind of help give you much better wear. Okay, so I love our lip conditioner, but it's not gonna necessarily give you better wear. It's gonna maybe make you it's gonna give you maybe more comfortable underneath the mattes. So if you're like me and just have naturally dry lips and you feel like the mattes just give more texture to your lips, you can totally, so for me, I don't mind reapplying my lip and cheek during the day because I can't stand like the all day long wear lip products on the market because they will dry your lips out even more so. So to me, it's worth the price. I just put a little lip conditioner on. I know I'm gonna have to reapply, I'm okay. But if you want the ultimate longevity, clean your lips off, exfoliate, okay? And then use something like a lip serum. So this is a pre-makeup lip serum by Agave. I've shared this before. Oh, sorry, Agave by Bite is the brand. Okay, it's got a really weird hard applicator and this absorbs super fast. It's a very different lip product. So you literally put it on, it totally moisturizes, but it also soaks into your lips very quickly. So it doesn't leave like a lot of that glossy texture behind. Put on that heavy emollient like our lip conditioner, you know, it's your color, your pigment doesn't have anything to stick to. So I would say let's just play, shall we? I'm gonna try Saffron. Multitasker by far is going to be your best friend for lining your lips. You can use either end, the tiny one. I'm lazy, I like to do it quickly, so I use the bigger one. And just follow your natural lip line. If you want to make your lips look bigger, you can totally go outside the vermilion border, but I feel like the contours might work better for that because it then mimics the natural shadow. With this, I would say stick with your natural lip line. So you can see how pigmented that is. I'm gonna use my finger and get a little bit. Now this is one of the most pigmented shades ever. So I'm just gonna kinda press on a little bit just so I have kind of a stain so that I'm not left with that line around my lips when I'm done. Or as I'm eating or drinking during the day, right? Okay, so now I got a stain, okay? The key with this is you wanna do thin layers. So that is like the ultimate thin layer. Then you can use the brush to actually put, you know, thin layers, let it dry. In fact, you can even go as far as, if you're using all mattes, using a slight amount of powder in between each layer, and it will help set it. So thin layer, like a stain, set it, okay? Or let it dry down a couple minutes, then go in with the other big end. And let's do the same that's on my lip and cheeks. On my cheeks, so you guys can see, okay? Frenchy is one of those colors that makes my lips look super dry, okay? So I never wear it by itself. I always top it. Okay, it's creamy right now. Now we wait. I'm going to let it dry down for a couple minutes. Okay, so now I'm gonna powder again. You see how dry that looks? Okay. Now, if you didn't do like the saffron as your first layer, you would then do another thin layer of Frenchy, let it dry down, repeat. Okay, so a couple thin layers of your lip color. And now, if you're like me and you're like, my lips look so dry and I can't stand the matte feeling, like I just can't do it, then I'm going to top it with a gloss, which is me every single day. So now I'm gonna go back in with Black Cherry. Okay, so this is definitely a layering method. You can also do like one color on the bottom lip, one color on the top, and then smack them together and mix colors straight on your lips, but it's not going to give you the best longevity. Okay, so you can see it's slightly different than my cheeks, but close. The scarlet kind of, I keep saying scarlet, the saffron kind of changes it up a little bit. So there you go. Now that's going to last on me. So once I do the gloss, I don't powder it again. So clean, dry lips, use the lip serum if needed. Then you can do those matte colors first, the most pigmented shades, line with the contour or a pigmented lip and cheek color. Thin layers, use a powder if needed, then top it with a gloss. There you go. Okay, friends, there you go. There's some lip and cheek tips and tricks. Can you tell? Like, I feel like neither of these has died down. They're gonna last me all day. And I hope that helped you pick your next shade. Don't be afraid to experiment. This is the most fun makeup to experiment with, and use some different colors. I challenge you to mix two colors you would never have mixed before and find your next favorite shade. If you need any help picking your next color or you need a color match, my questionnaire is in the drop box below the video. I'd be happy to help you get started with your 3D foundation. Thanks again for being here, and I love you guys.